Hello, welcome to White Birch Tarot and Astrology. I'm going to talk a little bit about the astrology, and then I will timestamp when the tarot reading starts. It looks really interesting, to say the least. And I'm going to read a quick quote, two quick quotes from the astrologer Rob Brezhny. I've talked about him before. His last name is spelled Brezsny. He said, "Your habits are prophecies written in pencil." Think about that. I like that. And he also said, "What exhausts you may be asking to be transformed, not endured." Okay. So life, basically. I'm going to talk about the astrology for a few minutes, and we got some interesting stuff going on in the next few days. I'm doing this just barely the 25th of June, just barely. And on the 25th, let's see, what time? Oh, not that long from now, at 8:02 a.m. This is when I say the time. That means when it's exact. But, you know, these aspects between the planets, they go for, depending on how fast the planets move, it could be a week or just depends. So relative time. But it's exact at 8:02 a.m. Eastern time on the 25th. We have Venus in Leo at 13 degrees in a very harmonious aspect called a trine, with Saturn in Aries at 13 degrees, almost 14 degrees. So if you know where your planets are, or your rising, or your sun, or whatever, it's going to affect all of us, though. So Venus in Leo is very loyal. Venus is our relationships, what we love, what we value, where we find the beautiful, which is also called beauty, I guess. Venus in Leo wants to be admired. She wants to be seen and noticed. And she's very loyal. Loyalty is very big with Leo. And creative. Leo's very creative too. It can be the inner child energy also. And Saturn in Aries is about, Saturn's always about structure and discipline and earthing things, you know, doing things on a practical level. And in Aries, it has something to do with our identity. We've been working on our identities for a while with Neptune and Saturn, both in Aries. And so, you know, that speaks to us, like wanting to expose something of ourselves, like our true self. We want to take positive, let me put it this way, we want to take positive steps, earthy steps, like real steps toward manifesting something that will express our values, will express even just ourself, like what we find beautiful in ourselves, or, you know, just anything about our real selves. We want to express it, and we want people to see it. We don't want to just be in our room and, you know, be singing or dancing by ourselves. That's okay, but I do that all the time. But you want to share something about yourself, and in a very real way, and you want to start building towards, you know, relationships can be very strengthened at this time. You want to build something that involves what you love, who you are, and what you love about yourself, what you love about other people. But I just feel like there's a very strong component here of I could keep using the word exposing yourself. That's not that way. Just, you know, being vulnerable and just showing who you are, showing your heart to others, and making steps to find a way to express that. That was a long way around. And also on the same day, we have the sun at 4 degrees of Cancer squaring Neptune at 4 degrees of Aries. And the sun in Cancer is about family and nurturing, how you like to be nurtured, expressing your emotional self. And Neptune, which is our dreams and imagination and illusion also. In Aries, it's about our identity, our desires. And I can definitely speak to Sun square Neptune, because I have that in my birth chart exact to the second. And I know that energy well. It's great for, not that I don't have those signs, but it's great. Sun square Neptune is great for the imagination. It's great for poetry and dance and music and loving the liminal spaces and, you know, things like that. You can be very one foot in both worlds. It's terrible for making decisions. It's terrible for, I shouldn't say terrible, but it's difficult. It's difficult, let's put it that way. A square is always difficult energy. It's difficult when it comes to knowing what's real and what's not real. Did I dream that? Did that really happen? Which one do I want to do? Well, I'm not sure what my purpose is. I kind of want to do this. I kind of want to do that. So we have a little bit of a conflict here between the sun, which is in Cancer, as I said. So family, nurturing, what nurtures me, and yet this expressive Neptune in Aries that says, I want to, again, just like the Venus thing, I want to express myself. I want to create from my imagination, but it's about my identity. You know, it's coming from a very basic place in me. It's my true desires. So where do my desires fit in with my family and my home life and my previous home life, how I was raised? And you could say the same for Venus and Saturn, except they're getting along better. But it's about, you know, again, which part of me I want to express something that's really me. Okay, that's enough of that, I think. In a couple days, you know, I was just thinking Mercury should be edging up to Jupiter at the end of Cancer, and he is, but I should call him they because he's a hermaphrodite, but they're going retrograde at the end of the month, so I'm not going to make an exact conjunction, and then we'll do that, I think, in mid-July, finally, but we'll do that in Leo, not Cancer. But Mercury and Jupiter are close. There's a lot of thinking going on, I think, about nurturing and families and things like that. A lot of emotional energy, we shall say. And on the 28th, and hopefully I will post again before then, Mars, who's in Taurus, moves into Gemini. So anyway, and Mars will make an aspect with Jupiter in a couple days. So hopefully, again, I will talk about that. So I've pulled, let me timestamp the cards. What time is it? Okay. Okay. I pulled, this is a really interesting reading. I hope I can make sense of it. This is the Oak, Ash, and Thorn deck by Three Trees Tarot. And, oh my gosh. Okay, so I started out, and the reason there are so many cards is because two came out together, but I had to clarify 3 of them. And I pulled some fairy cards too, and a couple shadow cards just to make things confusing. I hope they're not confusing. Okay, I said, what energy, what are we feeling right now? And I thought, really? Wow, the Tower. So there's, I'm not quite sure actually. Is this something mental that's happening where we're having an epiphany, an aha moment, or is this something changing in our lives in the outer? I wasn't sure, so I clarified, and I asked for a clarifier, and I got the King of Cups, and I thought, okay, the King of Cups is about emotions. Cups are always emotional, and the King is in control of emotions, not in a bad way. When I say control, I mean he allows them, but he's not afraid of them. He lets them flow through him. He's aware of his emotions, but he doesn't let them, take over. He can handle them. He's not afraid of his emotions. And he's also, to a certain extent, a healer for other people because he's dealt with his own emotions. So I'm like, okay, so whatever this sudden insight is, I think it's happening on an emotional level. And I got that feeling because actually I pulled the clarifiers for what do we need to let go of and what do we need to move closer to. I got those before I clarified the Tower. I just thought I just have to. So I think this is realizing that we're more in control of our emotions than we thought, maybe not being afraid of deep emotions. Oh God, I forgot to bring the fan in here. I may have to run and get it. Yeah, give me 1 second. Sorry, forgot. Okay, that was longer than 1 second, but I hope it wasn't too long. Now I have to push my chair in. Okay, pardon me. It's just so hot here. It's sticky hot. Okay, so I think it's an emotional aha moment. That's what I think. And we'll go with that, and we'll see if the cards bear that out. So then first I asked, okay, tonight I said definitely, what do we need to let go of? What's holding us back? What do we need to let go of and move away from? And I got the King of Wands, and I was like, really? So don't go after what you want. Don't feel like you're in control of your desires or that you know what they are. Okay. And then I asked, what do we need to move toward? And I got the Eight of Swords. And I thought, oh no, is this going to be one of those readings that's going to ask for trust and surrender? Yeah, wait till you see the fairy cards. Okay, so we're supposed to move toward not making a decision or being okay with not knowing which way to go, and being okay with that. Apparently it's necessary right now. Okay, so then I asked for a clarifier. I said, okay, wait, why do we need to move away from being in control here of, of our desires? And I got the Emperor, which again is a stronger version of the King of Wands. He's definitely, in charge, but this is what we're moving away from. So I have no choice but to say that we need to move away from thinking that we need to be in control of whatever situation this is that's coming up suddenly. We don't. In fact, it's detrimental to try to control it. Yeah. And then I clarified the Eight of Swords and said, why do we need to move toward feeling trapped and, blindfolded? And I get the Page of Cups. So again, we're in an emotional thing here. It's something to do with an emotional situation, whether past, present, or, well, I'm not going to say future, past or present, or it could be a present one triggered by the past. But we're getting an inkling of something. Something is stirring, and I think we're finally starting to see or feel something. And I think it's different from what we thought, or again, it came out of an aha moment, but again, on an emotional level, and it's asking us to not try to control it, to just let it be and be okay with not knowing what exactly to do with it right now, except nurture it, the feeling, be gentle with yourself. And then I said, okay, what's the challenge in all this? And I get the Star, which is about having a guiding light to tell you which way to go. So again, this is the challenge is, I think, if I'm reading this correctly, the challenge is to accept the fact that you're not going to know right now. There's going to be a period of not knowing which way to go. And Mercury has been in his shadow period for a while. And then I think it's on the 28th or 29th, Mercury goes retrograde in Cancer, goes back through Cancer again. I shouldn't sound frustrated about that. That's fine. But that's an emotional place for Mercury to go retrograde. I can't help but think it's about, thoughts about the past, which of course are going to bring up feelings in Cancer. So that's the challenge, is to find direction, or perhaps to be okay with not knowing. Maybe it's going to be a different navigating system than we're used to. Because when I said, so what is the blessing at this time? Like, what's the really good energy? Now, these came out absolutely together. The Moon and the Chariot. Now, the Chariot is the card for Cancer, and the Moon rules Cancer. And as I said, the Sun, Mercury, which is soon to go retrograde, and Jupiter are all in Cancer right now. So this is definitely some energy. So the blessing is that we get in touch with our emotions. We have some very profound subconscious messages, and we're very in tune with our intuition. And we do have some movement. The Chariot is always movement. In this deck, it's a little bit slower, as you can see. A slug on top of some kind of bird. I don't know what kind of bird that is. I love slugs and snails. That's not a slug, it's a snail, because he has a shell. Okay. Well, it's a slug inside a snail shell. Anyway, I guess they're different. So this is about letting our intuition and feelings be our guide, for sure. That's the challenge, I think. We got lots of stars in the sky there and lots of stars in the sky here. So it's the night. The guidance comes from the night part of us, which is the feminine, the intuitive part. It's not about pushing. It's not about Googling it. It's about getting in touch on a deep level. Pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to your feelings. Very important right now. Okay, and then I don't know why I always ask for shadow cards, because honestly, I'm never quite sure what to do with them exactly. I mean, I know what they are, but sometimes I'm not sure. I need to think about what I mean when I ask a shadow card. I asked what are we kind of not seeing, what's holding us back, and I got the Seven of Pentacles. And this is working on something. I think this feels to me like we're working at a task that's just not going to pay off. We just keep, it's like, why do you keep knocking on that door? It's not gonna, or working on that. It's not gonna work. There's a change coming with the Tower. And then I got Justice, and when I looked at it, the word karma, I mean, that's, understandable, but the word karma came to me, and I thought, I think this is something bigger than we are with, look, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 majors out of what, 8 cards? No, we got 5 because of the Emperor. So over half the cards, 5 out of 9 are majors. That's a lot. That's a lot. So I think it's a karmic thing. And it's happening behind the scenes. I think we're not seeing that there's something being balanced and something just, I hate to say leading us, but we need to listen to our inner knowing here. And what did I do with here there? I drew 2 fairy cards, just, because. And I think I'll read from the book on this one. This is the Hero, but this is, and I don't understand exactly why they drew this card this way. She's supposed to be a woman, and maybe it's the pants. She doesn't look like a woman, and that torso behind her definitely isn't, but that's just symbolic. But let me read from the book. This is the Heart of the Fairy Oracle, because I love this description. Okay, this is strength, courage, and unconditional love. That's very Venus and Leo for sure. The Hero is heroism as a feminine force, not how we usually think of the word. We can accept women as heroes, but we bestow male attributes on them to make them fit our idea of what is heroic. I know, I hate it when I hate that. Okay, it says, now just for a moment, think of love as a heroic force. Think of the love of a mother for her children. Now think on a larger scale. Think of the love for the earth. Think of love that lets us accept the differences in people and the beliefs around us. Think of love that is truly unconditional. That is heroism. That is the single thing that truly overcomes obstacles in our world and in fairy. It isn't easy, it isn't always comfortable, and it certainly isn't always fun, but it is heroic. So if you draw this card, be a hero. Try practicing unconditional love. That's interesting, especially with the Venus trining Saturn. Sounds kind of, oh, that one stuck to the book. Okay, and then I also drew the Queen of Passage. I love this card. She's got the peregrine falcon. She's got the pomegranate with the moon sickle. She's got a raven with a fiery golden necklace, or whatever you call that, around his neck. And this says physical, no, sorry, wrong page. Surrender, see, I told you, yeah, surrender, transition, and trust. All things change, all situations move from one phase into another. Sometimes those transitions are difficult. Letting go and moving on, whether to a new life, a new love, or perhaps just a new phase of a current relationship, can be painful. But the Queen of Passage is there to help with those transitions. She looks ahead with the keen sight of the kestrel. Oh, that's right, it's a kestrel. And can see the future with the wisdom of the raven. She holds a pomegranate, a sign of fertility. There is growth in the future. There is a way ahead. The darkness comes as you step from one state to another. The moment of passage between the past and future, between the worlds themselves, is a moment of surrender. Trust this great queen to be your guide. Listen to what she has to tell you, and then take that step. She will be by your side in the moment you move out of the past and into the future. Okay, so it looks like we're headed for a transition here. And we are moving with the chariot, and the chariot's with the moon. So the advice comes not from pushing or trying. The advice comes very gently and quietly through our dreams and our intuitions and our emotions. But looks like change is coming. So, okay. Well, that's what I have for you. Please leave me a comment. Let me know how it resonates. And please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Thank you for being here. Blessings, everyone. Good night.